Hey, so we all deal with stress. It comes, especially as fathers, householders, husbands. We have a lot of responsibility. For a very easy hack to deal with and reduce stress, what I found was taking a moment to breathe deeply, and I'll explain why. So we can look at stress, both as the outside world coming in. We've got bills, we've got not enough time to do all the things we need to do. The outside world comes in, and then we have to handle it. You can also look at stress as kind of what's going on the inside. The way I look at stress is it's kind of like a chemical cocktail, right? So I've got stress hormones pumping through my system, not enough time to get to work, do all the things I need to do, get groceries, get kids places. So this chemical cocktail of adrenaline, cortisol, like these are some of the chemicals and neurotransmitters that are going through my system. So I consider this chemical cocktail as my target, right? That's what I want to. I want to do something to that chemical cocktail and change the quotient. So generally, we're in our sympathetic nervous system when we're in that fight or flight, which is generally where we're feeling the stress. That's also a place where I find my breathing tends to be more shallow. I'm not taking fuller, deep breaths. So in my chemical cocktail, what I'm doing is I'm introducing less oxygen. And that's kind of a feedback mechanism, because the more stressed I am about whatever I'm doing, the more shallow my breathing is. And it becomes kind of this feedback mechanism. So for me, the solution, this easy hack, has been deep belly breathing. So taking the intention to breathe more deeply, to breathe more slowly, what it ends up doing is it engages a different part of my nervous system. It engages my parasympathetic, which can be described as like the rest and digest. So what I can do is I can change that chemical cocktail. Maybe I'm not going to reduce the cortisol and the adrenaline and those stressful neurotransmitters, but what I can do is I can introduce more oxygen into my system, which is going to change that quotient. So I'm playing chemist while I'm doing this. So for me, I started doing this whenever I could think about it, right? When I realized I was stressed and I was going to go into more reactive mode, that's hard to stop. I started to do the deep belly breathing just kind of in normal times when I could just remember it. I might write a little note on my hand. I might put a reminder on my phone. And I started to just try to introduce this into my day. And over the course of this practice, now I'm able to actually, when I feel stressed, because I've worked that muscle, I've done those reps. Now I'm able to go, oh, okay, why don't I take a minute if I've got time in the car before I get to work, if I've got time at home before the house goes crazy and everybody's home, I'll grab some time on the couch or I'll sit down and I'll just engage with this deep breathing. And I'm feeling my system, and I'm recognizing, okay, I've got stress from life. I've got stress from bills, from responsibilities, from time, not having enough time to do things. And what I'm doing is I'm reintroducing more oxygen. I'm doing this slow, deep breathing. Now, I can replace 20 or 30 minutes of scrolling through the news or social media. I can just replace that with sitting down and breathing. And for me, historically, it's been very hard for me to turn off my mind. I think for the masculine, we're in our head a lot. We're in our problem solving, all the responsibilities, the to-do list. It's very easy for us to get into our head. This has been a great tool for me. It doesn't cost anything, and it's a really large tool that I use to reduce the daily stress. Now, the outside world's still coming in. I've still got to pay those bills. There's still only 24 hours in the day. But what it enables me to do is it puts me into a much better place to deal with life on life's terms. And it's by far the single most powerful tool in my arsenal. So I think of it as a chemical cocktail that I want to make changes to. And I think of it, well, if I'm shallow breathing and I'm introducing less oxygen into my system, when I can engage in deep belly breathing where I'm really filling my lungs, it's almost, for me, it's a way for me to trick my system into thinking I'm in a place where I'm safe. I'm in a place where I can rest. And so my nervous system can slow down. I can shift into that parasympathetic, that rest and digest. So I'm really the chemist, and I'm just changing the quotient. I'm going to change that percentage. Boredom has been a great entry point for me. Those times where I would have just scrolled through the news, where I would have just scrolled through, social media and just found something to take my attention off of what I'm feeling, that stress that I'm feeling. Boredom has been great. I still do those things. I still look at the news and social media, but I invite myself to do this practice multiple times a day where I just get to introduce more oxygen into my system, where I get to change that quotient of how those stress hormones play a role in what I'm feeling. So this is a 100% cost, 0%, zero cost, 100% benefit. All I've got to do is find a couple of minutes throughout the day, and I'll do it, 1 to 10 times a day. And my overall stress is drastically reduced. And it puts me into a much better place where I can handle that I don't have enough time to do all the things I need to do, where I can handle still, helping with dinner, getting, procuring groceries and raw materials to cook, where I can get the cleaning or the job or the fitness. I can get all these things done because I've put myself into a more calm state where I'm then better resourced to tackle, whatever life's throwing at me.